Hey folks, Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. I think it's time we refresh and try to update our Justin Trudeau controversies list. Mind you, the last one we did was back in 2019. We would like to keep this video short and pick out specific scandals that make the Watergate scandal look like a walk in the park. This, in my opinion, it is why Canada is going to go dark censorship-wise, and why we the people have no voice or no say in the matter. They just want to shut us up with these bills that Canadian Parliament keeps passing or trying to pass to imprison the masses for calling out the failures of the current selected Canadian government. The 2020-2021 Rideau Hall Workplace Review was an external review by Quintet Consulting of the workplace culture at Rideau Hall, which hosts the Governor-General of Canada and her staff, initiated by the Privy Council Office, PCO, following allegations of harassment and verbal abuse by Governor-General Julie Payette and her secretary, Assunta Di Lorenzo. The review ultimately produced a report in January 2021, concluding that Payette and Di Lorenzo presided over a toxic work environment, resulting in their resignations on January 21st, In early 2022, a series of protests and blockades erupted across Canada, known as the Freedom Convoy. Initially, this movement aimed to protest vaccine mandates for crossing the United States border. However, it quickly evolved into a broader protest against COVID-19 mandates in general. Starting on January 22nd, hundreds of vehicles formed convoys from various points, traveling across Canadian provinces, and finally converging on Ottawa by January 29th, with a significant rally at Parliament Hill. The convoys were joined by thousands of pedestrian protesters, and several offshoot protests also blockaded provincial capitals and border crossings with the United States. We've covered this one on our channel before. The Canada-Philippines waste dispute centered around mislabeled Canadian garbage shipped to Manila by a recycling company. The 103 shipping containers, which departed from Vancouver between 2013 and 2014, were labeled as recyclable plastics but actually contained household waste. The situation, complicated by the intricacies of international treaties, the involvement of a private company, and Canadian regulations, escalated until 2019. That's when Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte began issuing ultimatums to Canada. Finally, on May 30th, 2019, 69 containers of Canadian trash were shipped back to Canada. The incident, widely known as Elbowgate, occurred on May 18, 2016, when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came into physical contact with two opposition members of Parliament during a parliamentary session. In the heat of the moment, Trudeau grabbed Conservative MP Gord Brown by the arm and inadvertently elbowed New Democratic MP Ruth Ellen Brosseau in the chest. Following the incident, Trudeau offered apologies, and interestingly, he was not subject to any parliamentary sanctions for his actions. Motion 103, also known as M103, was a non-binding motion in the 42nd Canadian Parliament, stating that the members of the House of Commons called on the Government of Canada to condemn Islamophobia in Canada. It also called on the Standing Committee on Canadian Heritage to carry out a study on how racism and religious discrimination can be reduced and collect data on hate crimes. The motion was introduced by the Liberal MP representing Mississauga, Aaron Mills. The motion passed by a vote of 201 to 91 on March 23, 2017. The debate surrounding the motion was characterized as deeply divisive, especially within the official opposition Conservative Party of Canada, which was in the midst of a leadership election. The Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, commonly called the Trudeau Foundation, is a Canadian charity founded in 2001, named after former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. Donations to the charity increased when Justin Trudeau became the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, and again in 2015 when the party won the federal election. In early 2023, most of the board of directors resigned in light of a $200,000 donation from Chinese political strategists and billionaire Zhang Bin. The donation was reported in the context of allegations of Chinese government interference in the 2019 and 2021 Canadian federal elections. The SNC-Lavalin affair is a political scandal involving attempted political interference with the justice system by the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, and the Prime Minister's office. The Parliament of Canada's Ethics Commissioner Mario Dion found that Trudeau improperly influenced then Minister of Justice and Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould to intervene in an ongoing criminal case against a Quebec-based construction company, SNC-Lavalin, subsequently rebranded Atkins-Realis in 2023 by offering a deferred prosecution agreement. The Trans Mountain Expansion project was controversial due to its potential environmental impact. It faced legal challenges as well as challenges from environmentalists and First Nations groups on the grounds of inadequate consultation of the pipeline route passing through unceded Indigenous land. A Supreme Court decision on July 2, 2020, that rejected the appeals made by First Nations and environmental groups brought an end to the years-long legal challenge. On August 31, 2018, the Government of Canada purchased the pipeline for $4.7 billion from Kinder Morgan through the creation of the Trans Mountain Corporation, or TMC, in order to keep the project alive. TMC is a Crown Corporation, a subsidiary of the Canada Development Investment Corporation, or CDEV. Until the purchase by CDEV, the Trans Mountain Pipeline was owned by the Houston, Texas-based Pipeline Operators Canadian Division. The Trudeau Cash for Access scandal is a political scandal arising from newspaper reports in 2016 that Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, had been attending Cash for Access events at the homes of wealthy Chinese Canadians in Toronto and Vancouver, generating a political scandal. Attendees at these events, including attendees with connections to the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, would pay up to $1,525 per ticket to meet Trudeau. In response, the Liberal Party of Canada indicated that all party fundraising complied with Elections Canada rules and regulations. Although such Cash for Access events were reported as appearing to violate Trudeau's open and accountable government rules about lobbying and fundraising, Ethics Commissioner Mary Dawson interviewed Trudeau and determined that no rules were broken, without releasing a report. Dawson's office defended the lack of a report by stating that Dawson had not opened a formal investigation, which would have legally required the commissioner to issue a public report under the Conflict of Interest Act. A political scandal took place in Canada in 2020 regarding the awarding of a federal contract to WE Charity to administer the $912 million Canada Student Service Grant Program, or CSSG. The controversy arose when it was revealed that the WE Charity had previously paid close family of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to appear at its events, despite making claims to the contrary. In total, Craig Kielburger confirmed at a parliamentary committee, WE Charity paid approximately $425,000 to Trudeau's family, including expenses. We Charity also used pictures of Trudeau's family members as celebrity endorsements in their application. Trudeau stated that We Charity had been uniquely capable of administering the program as the only possible option, and that it was the civil service, not him, who decided that We Charity was the best option. It was noted that not only had the charity employed a daughter of former Finance Minister Bill Morneau, but a close relationship existed between the minister and members of its staff. On 22 September 2023, Yaroslav Hunka, a Ukrainian Canadian who fought in the SS Division Galicia of the military wing of the Nazi Party, the Waffen-SS, was invited to the House of Commons of Canada to be recognized by Speaker Anthony Rota, the Member of Parliament for Hunka's district. Hunka received 2 standing ovations from all House members, including Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, other party leaders, and visiting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Hunka's membership in the Waffen-SS was reported initially by the Forward, which quoted a tweet by the academic Ivan Kachanovsky. The story was picked up by the Canadian media, receiving international attention. Like we've been covering on this channel since early 2018, as the Yellow Vest movement took off in Canada with no confidence in Trudeau government. This group is to protest the carbon tax and the treason of our country's politicians who have the audacity to sell out our country's sovereignty over to the globalist UN and their tyrannical policies. We are also against the government attempting to buy off the media in an election year and conspire with social media companies to censor our speech. We cannot have a free and democratic society unless we have free speech and the ability to express it as far and wide as we wish. We are Canadian patriots who refuse to allow this country to walk down the path of tyranny. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has taken the unprecedented step of invoking the Emergencies Act to crack down on anti-vaccine mandate protests. Mr. Trudeau said the scope of the measures would be time-limited, reasonable, and proportionate, and would not see the military deployed. With no need for court orders, banks can freeze personal accounts of anyone linked with the protests. Hundreds of demonstrators remain in Canada's capital city. I hope you guys liked this video. Go ahead and put your comments below and add the other 291 scandals that I have left out. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.